Hey guys, holy shit, Jackson here from What's Good Gaming. Uh, I know we usually do gaming videos, but this time I've decided to do something a little different. Uh, Actually, this either might go on my normal channel or it might go on the group channel. I have no clue for as of right now. But what I'm going to be reading is Rocket to Insanity. It is a not. It is sort of a creepy, grim, dark story for My Little Pony. It is a very I've heard it from so many people. It was pretty creepy for one. It's sort of a side thing from Cupcakes. If you don't know what Cupcakes is, it's a story about Pinkie Pie killing Rainbow Dash and well eating her. Baking her into a cupcake and feeding it to her friends. Yes, I'm kind of sad because of that. If I can get this up, I will be reading it here soon, but for right now, it's just, you know, it's kind of fucked up right now. Here, can I finally get it? Thank you. Thank you. Uh, okay, let's start this out. It's gonna be just like a normal reading, just saying. Ah! 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 Screams echoed through the cloud palace of Rainbow Dash's home. The filly startled wide awake in a cold sweat, terror surging through her veins. Nightmares, again. The seventh time this month, and it was always the same one. The one with the cupcakes. Flashes of memory lanced through her head. Wings being hacked off, then ripped from their sockets. Needles plunged into her beating heart. Adrenaline injected into her body to keep her awake and alert on the torture went on. The smell of her own flesh cooking. The sight of her own blood and gore spilling from her surgical incisioned belly. The mastermind behind her terror toying with those glistening organs like they were party favors. She knew in her heart that Pinkie Pie would never be capable of doing such a gruesome act. But that thought didn't help to make the dreams any less vivid. The Pegasus pony sobbed openly, curling up in her blanket and rocking back and forth as her body trembled with fear. She hadn't told Lady Pony about her dreams, about the lingering feelings of steel piercing flesh and blade cutting bone. Her work had suffered because of the constant night terrors, the nightmares being so powerful that she was simply afraid of going back to sleep. Some nights staying up altogether in an attempt of starving off her horrors, or just one more night. And every pony wondered why she spent most of her days napping in the open in the daylight because of the shining brilliance of the sun. It was the only way she could actually rest. But even then, the black clutches of her fear, addling subconscious, had begun to creep even into the ravine's safety, following her through the dream world. Dash whispered as tears stroking down her face, staining the fur of her cheeks as wide eyes darted across the darkened century of her room, heart pounding in her chest as breath came before hiccuping sobs, her wings clinging tight against her form as paranoia began to clutch the edges of her mind. Shadows lurched and moved in her peripheral vision, routine natural noises becoming distorted and echoing with her mind, as adrenaline surged from her through her shivering form. This wasn't healthy. Her mind was slowly breaking under the horrors of her subconscious mind. Things that no pony should ever even have the slightest thought about, chipping away at her psyche. She was starting to crack. Rainbow Dash? Rainbow Dash! Hey, is any boy seeing Rainbow Dash around? Applejack trotted through the streets of Ponyville, looking high and low for the town's resident speeder. Pony, bystanding, just shook her head and shrugged. Horse feathers! Figured that pony's nowhere. Huh. Figures that no pony is there to be seen when you really need her. The cowpony sighed and continued on through town, hoofbeats kicking up dust as she looked to the sky for the Pegasus pony. Consarn it, Rainbow Dash, where in the wild world of Equestria are you? A long yawn from the branches of a tree behind her met her answer, the pony in question dipping a head down and gazing at Applejack from an upside-down position. What, Applejack? What is it that is so important that you gotta interrupt my napping? The Western pony stumped a hoof to the ground, scowling at the Pegasus. Now you know just when I'm making a fuss and finding you. You said you was gonna bring over a little rainstorm for the crops at Sweet Apple Acres nearly 2 hours ago. Instead, I find you here, in a tree, snoozing a little behind off? Dash gave a groan, slipping out of the tree and landing on her hooves, shaking her head. She looked more dissolved than usual, her mane a mess, dark bags under her eyes with many a sleepless night. She looked pale, sticky almost, yet still tried to put on an air of cheerfulness. She had a yawn before giving a dismissive wave to Applejack. Yeah, keep your saddle on. I'll get right on it now. Sorry and stuff. As the Pegasus pony turned and spread her wings to take off, Applejack tilted her head to the side and gave a little frown. Dashy? You feeling okay? You look a little, under the weather. Dash grumbled, shrugging her shoulders as she gave her wings a little test flap. Fine. Was the only response from the Pegasus. The cowpony behind her stepped forward, giving Dash aside a little nudge with her snout. You sure about that? She was caught by the Pegasus suddenly jerking away from Applejack, darting up in the air as her eyes went wide. Don't touch me! I'm fine, honest, just... She nearly spilled the beans right there and then, but refined. She couldn't take the chance that the other pony might think different of her because she was being scared out of her mind every night by some stupid nightmare. Her body gave a little shiver as Applejack looked on with concern. I gotta go. Before Applejack could say anything further, Dash was off like a rocket towards Sweet Apple Acres, leaving the cowpony just to scratch her head in confusion. That filly ain't right. Another terror-filled night. Dash lay curled upon the floor of the cloud house, blankets swathed around her shivering form. It was worse this time. She had been flayed open, set upon the dining table of a pink earth pony as stabs of her own meat, dripping from her life fluids, was sheared from her flanks. Served to all of her friends, herself still somehow alive to be aware of the entire situation, hearing the laughter as they devoured her living form, as fork and knives dug into her innards, tearing her apart. She was nothing more than a slab of meat for her friends' enjoyment. Hiccups pushed her through heavy sobs as the Pegasus pony clutched at her head. The visions that her nightmares had been visiting upon her ingrained within her memory. Every horrible detail, from the fiery pain of the reddish flesh to the sticking sound of the innards being turned and ripped out of her belly, was cast in vivid description. She whined as she laid curled tightly upon the floor, sniffing as tears gushed from her eyes. Just leave me alone. Why won't you leave me alone? She hiccuped, rocking back and forth. I don't deserve this. Just stay out. Stay out of my head. Get out of my head. Please, just get out of my head. Fear turned to anger, Dash beating her hooves against her temples. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out! She wept openly, grinding her forehead against the floor of her room, hooves pounding and pounding on her head, bruising the flesh as pent-up frustration and sleep deprivation erupted in an agonizing scream of rage and sorrow. Another night. Another crack in the window. Everybody just noticed it. It was in the way she walked, the way she talked, Her body language just screamed it. Gone was Rainbow Dash, that cheerful, brash speedster, replaced by some hollow shell. She drifted aimlessly about over Ponyville, as weeks of interrupted sleep had taken its toll upon her. All of her friends knew that something was up, but none of them knew exactly what to do. She had pushed them away, as they had tried to comfort her, lashing out like a wounded animal any time they tried to console her or plead her to get help. Too headstrong, some would say. Too proud, others still. But none of them realized the gravity of the situation until that one fateful day. The day that Rainbow Dash finally snapped. It had been an unseasonably warm spring day in Ponyville. Every pony was out enjoying the temperate weather, from foals to colts, and then some, as every pony would, about their business. Lyra and Bonbon chatting up beneath their usual table at the cafe. Applejack selling the first harvest from Sweet Apple Acres, as ponies lined up from their rubbery delicates. Those ruby delicates. And within the candy corner, Pinkie Pie was busy darting to and fro in the kitchen, baking up a storm. She glanced at the clock every now and then, frowning each time before the bell to the door finally rang open. A haggard-looking Rainbow Dash entering the shop. "Rainbow, you're finally here! Oh, I've been so worried about you. You've been all mopely dozy. So I thought I'd ask you to come and visit me so I can make you feel extra super special and cheer you up. But to stay cooped up in the house all day. But then you came in and now you're here and now we can have fun." Dash merely looked at her blankly before shaking her head and stumbling forward. "Whatever, Pinkie. What did you want me here for?" The energetic Earth Pony bounced about the kitchen, others towards one of the many ovens at the candy corner, before pulling the door down, reaching in and out, and pulling out a tray of puffy, fluffy cupcakes with a generous slashing of icing upon them. She spun around, grinning widely as she slowed the baked goods off to Dash. "I made you cupcakes!" Dash paled. Mind flashed back to the earliest of those dreams, the most vivid, the most intense, a tray of cupcakes, tasting it, finding motor skills rapidly deteriorating, stumbling as her body shut down under the effects of some unknown drug. Pinkie Pie loomed over her with her trademark grin, eyes gleaming as the world dimmed around her. And here it was, happening for real. Vision had hazed as the world began to spin around her. The Pegasus stumbling back and shaking her head, whispering under her breath, "No, no, 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 no!" She backed up. Eyes wide with fear, she shook her head violently, looking around frantically for a way out. Any way out. The window, the door. No, no, no. I don't want him. No, let me out of here. Let me out of here! Pinkie merely tilted her head to the side quizzically, setting the tray down and lifting a few of the cakes and planting them, bouncing over to the shivering Rainbow Dash and offering the plate to the Pegasus. Dash stared at them. They were the same color. Same kind. Run. Same kind. "Run," a voice in her head said. "Run! Run, you idiot! Run!" A hoof flashed out, smacking the plate out of Pinkie Pie's hooves. "I said I don't want them! I know what you're doing, and it's not gonna work!" Pinkie Pie frowned at the discarded cupcakes, but in typical Pinkie fashion, she had shrugged and went around cleaning them out, humming to herself, "Maybe you didn't like avocado icing. That's okay. I made plenty more so we can make some of your liking. Is that okay, Rainbow Dash?" Sorry, I have something in my throat. Alright. She glanced back. The Pegasus pony letting out panic whimpered noises, eyes fixated on the pony before her, pupils nearly pinpricking as fear and adrenaline coursed through her veins. She was pinned between Pinkie and the wall behind her, chest heaving with heavy gasps, her sleep-deprived, horror-filled mind playing in scene with her nightmares over and over again. of the saw rending through flesh, cutting through bone. Run! Get away! Scalpel piercing her breast, dragging through her flesh down to her groin, flaying her open like some sick sort of piranha. Move. Just get away. Get away, get away, get away! She was hyperventilating by now, no longer seeing a long-time friend, but a horrific, sadistic butcher. Do something! And then she saw it. Then shining, sharp protector, just sitting there at the table next to her, the voice within her mind whispering to her like a seductive lover. Sounding so wrong, but so right at the same time. Kill her. Dash hesitated. Part of her wanted to scream, another to run, but yet another considered the request. Kill her, before she kills you! Her mind was a maelstrom of conflicting thoughts. The Pegasus feeling sick to her stomach, weak in the knees, the beat of her own heart pounding within her head. Take the knife. She stared at it, hoof slowly stretching out, trembling as part of her still tried to reason. Take it. Take the knife. Tears seemed streamed down her face as her hoof hovered above the handle of the tool-turning weapon, as if the last frayed strands of her sanity knew what was happening, knew that it was fighting a battle it was going to lose. Take it! She snatched it up, holding it in front of her as Pinkie Pie was shaking hooves. Her ears sprayed back against her head, hiccuping between sobs. Just leave me alone, please, Pinkie Pie. Just leave me alone. Pinkie Pie looked at the knife, being wielded from her friends for the moment, before giggling and bouncing over towards Dash, whose heart sank as the filly rapidly approached. Oh, Dash, you silly filly, you got me good with that one. Never want to turn down an opportunity to prank, huh? She didn't think, her body acting as its own. Aghast, Pinkie Pie looking thunderstruck as Dash hoved. Frozen in mid-silence, the silvery blade of the knife dripping with red ichor. Pinkie Pie brought a hoof up to her chest, to her cheek, dabbing at the wide cut, looking at her own blood-stained hoof. Dash? What? I told you to stay away. Why couldn't you just stay away? Kill her. No. No. She's my friend. I can't. I... Kill her, and the hurting will stop. Please, Pinkie. Run. Just run. Celestia, please don't make me do this. Kill her. Kill her, kill her, kill her, kill her! What happened next was a blur. The memories fuzzed in Dash's mind as Pinkie Pie tried to make some sense out of a sudden attack upon her pony. Dash let out a chilling mix between a wail and a scream, catching the earth pony off guard as the blade darted forward, slashing through her neck, severing vein and artery as a gout of crimson issued forth from the wand. Shook in surprise registered on Pinkie Pie's face as she gurgled, blood hemorrhaging from the wound, staining her pink fur with the red hue of her life essence. Again and again, that silver blade stuck out. Dash's speed not restricted to her flight, as she purged the blade into the filly before a rapid pace, sobbing hysterically as she carved the squirming and flailing filly up. Through breast, through bone, Pinkie Pie struggled slowly, fading as her blood was spilt onto the floor of the Candy Corner's kitchen, pooling around her, splattering the Pegasus on top of her with the hot red fluid. Just leave me alone! She screamed out, fear turning to rage. You couldn't just go away, could you? You had to keep coming back! Pinkie's struggles grew weaker and weaker, her eyes wide with terror as tears streamed down her face, visage frozen in the mix of fear and anguish. What did she do? Was it the icing? Did she use salt instead of sugar? Why? Or those slowly glazing eyes stared up as Dash The strike of the blade grew slower and slower, the Pegasus finally plunging the impalement deep into Pinkie's chest, spearing through the filly's heart, heading her place once and ending her party once and for all. Dash heaved for breath, limbs shaking as she looked down upon her handiwork. Blood stained her fur and feathers, painting her a deep crimson, wearing the life force of her former friend like some macabre outfit. She sobbed, letting out a wail of anguish as she realized the gravity of what she had just done. Arms wrapped around the butchered filly, Dash holding the still warm corpse of her friend tight. No, 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 no. I didn't. Oh, Celestia, no. What? What have I done? What did I do? Dashy's body shook as her chest heaved from each gut-wrenching cry of anguish, suddenly letting go of her Pinkie's body and letting out an ear-piercing shriek of terror as she looked at her own hooves. Blood and viscera coated them, dripping down through her fur. The scene, straight from a horror movie, laid before her eyes. She skittled backwards, slipping into the pool of blood of her own creation, slamming cheek first into the pile of gore, before finally gaining purchase, ingraining and dragging herself over against the farthest wall from Pinkie's still form, her stomach mutinying on her as she emptied her contents upon the floor next to her. Her mind raced, thoughts running a mile a minute as she hiccuped, wide terror-filled eyes staring at the scene made by her own hoof. Murder. She had committed murder on one of her friends, one of her own friends. It was unheard of. No pony had murdered another in 1,000 years, hundreds of years. Voices within her mind clawed and whispered to her, the world spinning around her as time seemed to stand still for her, the last vestige of her sanity, being plucked apart, one by one, until that final thread finally snapped. Hooves grasped at her head, mating her rainbow-colored mane down with blood and ichor. The Pegasus rocking back and forth in the blood kitchen as a crazed grin spread across her muzzle, humming disjointedly to herself. Giggle at the ghosty, snortle at the spooky. Dash threw her head back, curling legs against her chest as forelimbs wrapping around them. Psychotic laughter issuing forth from the speedster Pegasus as her world shattered around her, psyche and spirit broken and splintered. Well, that was crazy. I actually haven't read this before, and I saw it by Creepypasta, by Mr. Creepypasta, and he actually has real women doing the voices, but I guess I can be the male form? Maybe. That was sad. Hell, I didn't even think that was gonna happen. That's sort of like a twist ending for me. I'd never really thought about that. I mean, of course the pain was gonna stop, and she was gonna start. I thought she was gonna start telling her friends about what was going on, but no, she ended up killing her, and that's full of torments. Story's good. I gotta tell you that much. Whoever creates these stories are good and sadistic. Expect more from me because I have a new channel for gameplays, and you can check out the link in the description below to the story and to the channel. I'll just be doing stories on this channel, I guess. It's also going to be my personal channel, so yeah. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for whatever. Thanks for listening to it. And have a nice day. Now that your psyche has been fucked up by me. Beware the flame, and I'll see you guys later.